All right, welcome back to another episode. Today, I'm going to be talking about some potential breakout NBA stars that we could see this season, next season, and in a couple years in the future. Players that I think are not only underrated, that just have a really good chance of waking up the public and showing them that they're legit. They could get max contracts in the future. I think these players are going to really explode this year and next year, and just the future of basketball is going to be built around these players. I've got a hefty list. I'm going to just give you my thoughts on them, give them a few bullet points, and then move on to the next player. But yeah, let's get right into it. All right, the first player on the list of potential NBA breakout stars that I have is Caris LeVert. He's coming off an injury. I think a lot of people have either forgotten about him or kind of written him off, but he was a killer at Michigan. He's a killer now, but he might not get as much attention this year with KD and Kyrie getting most of the shots in production. But I think he's somebody that, given the right scenario, he should really be a stud. He had 18.7 points per game in the last 45 games. He's a 6'6" slashing guard wing combo that has a knack for scoring. He has the perfect skill set for the modern NBA. He's versatile. He's everything you want in a wing. There seems to be a trend where with higher minutes, he sees higher production, which is always ideal. I think he's somebody, like I said, that maybe not this year with KD and Kyrie, maybe a few years down the line when he's really the primary option. I think he could be someone that really makes a lot of noise and maybe could be an all-star. All right, next up, we've got Dejounte Murray. I feel like he's always been super underrated, even since high school when he was ranked as the 49th best player in the class of 2015, according to the 247 Sports composite ranking. But I just feel like he's been someone that's been under the radar for so long. And I think that's due to injuries. He's only played 185 career games because of those injuries. He missed all of the 2018 to 2019 season due to an ACL injury. But the Spurs have been grooming him under some great guards and obviously the genius in Greg Popovich for years now. And I feel like he's just on the cusp of breaking out if he's healthy. I love his two-way ability because of his length and athleticism. He averaged 1.7 steals per game last year. In 66 games last year, he averaged 10.9 points, 5.8 rebounds, and 4.1 assists per game on 46.2% shooting from the field and 36.9% from three. He may be a bit of a risk just because of his injury history, but the Spurs have been high on him for so long, so that leads me to believe that they definitely see something in him, and I think it's already coming to fruition this year. With Chris Paul coming in, Ayton should be ecstatic for the pick and roll and pick and pop opportunities that he's going to get. At 6'11", 250 pounds, he's in prime shape to be one of the most dominant centers in the league. He didn't look this way early in his NBA career though. He was lethargic and showed little effort early on. His improvement, especially defensively, has been great to see, and is now understanding how to guard and help on driving guards. He should only play better in his third season and with the addition of Chris Paul. We've seen wherever Chris Paul goes, winning goes. So this should make the entire Suns organization better, and especially Deandre Ayton. The next player on this list is Marvin Bagley III, and I know there's been a lot of buzz around his name from his father and De'Aaron Fox's father telling the Kings organization to trade him, but I just think he's another player that's been plagued with injuries, but it's definitely slept on. He may not be a star, but he could surprise a lot of people because of how under the radar he is. Apparently, he's put on around 10 pounds of muscle since the NBA shutdown, and he's only 21 years old, and from interviews, he seems to be getting his confidence back slowly. He says he's legitimately enjoying his time on the court. At 6'11", 235 pounds, he has a great skill set that is just waiting to blossom in my mind. In the 13 games he played last year, he averaged 14.2 points and 7.5 rebounds, and his per 40-minute stats were 19.9 points and 10.5 rebounds per game. In college, he averaged 21 points and 11.1 rebounds per game and was 23 for 58 on threes, which is 39.7%. So his shot is promising. It hasn't really translated so far yet, but the shot is promising, and I think once that comes around, we will see a new Marvin Bagley III. All right, the next player on the list, and I think this is a pretty popular pick, is Michael Porter Jr. We got a taste of what he could do in the bubble, but I think he's just scratching the surface of how impactful he can be. He was ranked as the number 2 prospect in the class of 2017, according to the 247 Sports composite ranking, so he should be someone that's producing at a high level. But why is he slept on? Well, due to a back injury, he only played 3 games at Missouri, where he was underwhelming there. He averaged 10 points, 6.7 rebounds, and 0.3 assists per game with a true shooting percentage of 43.8%. He looked like he was forcing the issue in college and thus fell to the 14th pick in the 2018 NBA draft. After more complications with injuries in the NBA, he finally bounced back a bit and really exploded in the bubble, averaging 14.2 points, 7.2 rebounds, and 1 assist per game on 50.4% shooting from the field and 39.6% from three. He's a 6'10 small forward that releases the ball high above his head in a KD sense. His scoring ability is through the roof, and it's been this way since high school. I remember watching Ball's Life and Slam mixtapes of this kid, 6'10", on the wing, shooting the ball way above his head. He was unguardable in high school, and with the skill set he had, you really could just hope he missed in high school. I think if he gets more touches, which I don't know if he will do in Denver, with guys like Murray and Jokic, and possibly the emergence of Bol, his production could skyrocket. Denver just has so much young talent that I don't know that it's the right place for Michael Porter Jr. to emerge as a star. And maybe he needs to get traded to expand in that role, or maybe he's comfortable in the role he's in now. But regardless, he's got superstar potential in my mind. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to another YouTube video. It means a lot that your support has come from Instagram and now to YouTube, and it actually helps a lot too, so I appreciate it so much. But before we end, I'm going to do my Bible verse. I'm going to make it a tradition on the YouTube channel as well, and today we've got Ephesians 4:32. It says, "Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other just as Christ God forgave you." I'm not going to lie, this is one of the hardest things about Christianity. Forgiveness is so hard, but Jesus calls us to do it. We are called to forgive those that do wrong to us, and don't get me wrong, it's hard. When somebody does you wrong, the last thing you want to do is give in and forgive them. But it's what we're called to do as Christians. Our goal should be to live like Jesus did. Jesus lived out of love. He loved those who did him wrong. Even the people that put him on a cross, he had love for. I find that perspective helping me when somebody does me wrong. Jesus was able to love people that crucified him. That's real love. So that perspective helps me to forgive people that do small things to me that I consider myself wronged for. It's not that deep most of the time. Forgiveness is something I'm going to try and get better at in 2021. Let me know in the comments if you have any strategies for forgiving people, because yeah, it is a hard thing as a Christian. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I appreciate it. Stay blessed.